Hello and welcome to another edition of Golden Bee Revolution as we continue to discuss on our theme, that is domestic violence. And today we bring you this special episode as we continue to discuss what we refer to as domestic violence, because we cannot stop discussing this particular issue because of its prevalence. Alright, we are not leaving anyone outside. Everybody is coming on board. We don't want to leave any section of the society outside. We started with peace advocates, artists, members of the political arena, and then so many other sections. So we are moving on. We are going to have the CSOs, the religious leaders, and all the sections of the society. Here with me today, I have Mentor Boy, Ibrahim Boy. Mr. Boy, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Sane. As you earlier said, I am Ibrahim Boy, fondly called Mentor Boy, Secretary General of SOSA at the University of the Gambia, and then also an award-winning prolific student at the University of the Gambia, a teacher and a poet. I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim Boy, for that brief and wonderful introduction. Before moving on to our topic, domestic violence, I want us to take about a few minutes to discuss about a particular issue, a burning issue, and also a trending issue that is very important. We know it is 2021, and we know what that means. It's an election year here. It's an election year in the Gambia. December 4th, we are moving to the polls. What would you say to the people who believes that violence is the way forward? Or election, in fact, politics is not a contest of ideas, but is a contest of insults and violence. What will you say to those people?
Thank you once again. I think if you look at the area, the topic violence, it is kind of wide. We have verbal violence, we have physical, we have emotional, and then we have sexual violence. All the things are possible. But as you ask me to discuss on one of the most alarming ones, that is political violence, probably, that we are all expecting as Gambians, as a young person and as a poet, I think, I can share, very good information regarding this issue. I think there is one thing as the youth of this nation, we need to be the voices of the society. It's about time for us to step up and understand that politics is not about life and death issue. Politics is just a battle of ideas. At the end of the day, these are not different. These are just lines. These are just lines that are drawn in order to show where we belong. Okay, belonging somewhere does not actually mean you have to be an enemy with another person. So literally, I call on everybody to make sure that we try to make peace. We try to understand the early warning signs of violence and conflict, and try to make sure that we try to mitigate them before it takes us to another level. Right. Because there's one reason to understand. As a nation, we can never forge ahead as far as this violence, is taking an unprecedented wave in our midst.
All right. Thank you. We can never forge ahead as far as this violence is taking place. These are words from Mentor Boy. You are a poet, a teacher, and also an inspiration to many young people in the country here. Yeah. Now, looking at the statistics, it is reported that young people are involved mostly in most of this violence in the country. Now, what is going to be your role as a poet now to be able to make sure that people are done away with some of these violent things, especially when it comes to election? And because election means non-violent, now what is going to be your role as a poet now to talk to those people about electoral violence?
Yes, actually, as I speak, I have about 2 pieces that I'm about to release, and they are all purely talking about
that's applaudable.
Violence. Yes, they are about. One of them is Lost Generation. The other one is Less Lessons. The Less Lessons talks about what are some of the things going on in our society. Things that are less and we are not paying attention to them. And then the Lost Generation is basically describing the attitude of the Gambian people, of the young people, and also what should we do to mitigate some of those bad attitudes we have.
That is a very inspirational story from your end. Now, domestic violence. Okay. All right. We invited quite a number of people here on Golden Bee Revolution to talk about domestic violence. It includes comedians, artists, peace advocates, politicians. In fact, we are thinking about bringing religious leaders and CSOs. You name it. In fact, we embark on school outreach programs, and there are so many projects that the Golden Bee have embarked upon. Now, we actually brought this topic, and we are continuing to discuss on this topic because of its prevalence. All right. Looking at the prevalence of domestic violence each and every day in this country is really scary. Now, what do you make of the prevalence of domestic violence in the Gambia?
Yes, thank you so much. Before I deal with it, I just want to say this, that if you have a heart where vanity builds an apartment, violence must be the resident. I think it's about time for us to put humanity first before vanity. Humanity in the sense that we should find joy, in bringing peace. We should find joy in helping one another. This generation is molded in a way that, the pleasure to hurt, the pleasure to inflict pain on people, is dominated. And these are one of the challenges that we face as a society. Yes, what you were saying, as a young person, I think one thing that we can do to make sure we mitigate, this domestic violence is to be, voices of the society. Mr. Sane, the culture of silence in our society is serious. Our society grooms us in a way that we keep quiet over everything going on for the fear of victimization.
Now, you talk about the culture of silence in our society is very serious. Now, are you referring to the perpetrators here or the victims that most of these problems will be inflicted on and yet remain silent because of the social norms and so?
From both ends. You will realize that, let me just tell you this, because of our family settings or the nature of the society we have, things are going on. Somebody can be victimized, but due to the nature, due to the interconnection or the interrelation between families, sometimes we choose to give deaf ears to those things. We don't talk because most of the time what happens is, if such things happen and if you come out and speak, most of the time you are victimized or you are stigmatized by the society. You are called liar, you are called names, that are actually, going to disturb you as a person. So you realize that so many things are happening. This physical violence, especially physical violence, is really happening in our society. Sexual violence, the emotional violence. You will see there are so many young people, children, who grow up today. Today they are violent, they have this character of violence, they see things differently. It is not because they really choose to do so, but because they experience emotional violence at a very young age.
All right. Thank you very much, Ibrahim, Mentor Boy, for that wonderful discussion on domestic violence. We are going to take a break and then come back later. And then now here in the studio already we have Binta D. Bojang, who's supposed to be here with us, but due to certain reasons beyond her control, he could not join us earlier. But after the break, we are going to introduce to you Binta D. Bojang to join us in the discussion. So we stay right here, and then we are going to the break. We'll head to the break and then come back, and then Golden Bee Revolution continues here on Star TV.
Ñu bëgg jàmm ak salaam yéen a moom lii yéen ñu bëgg réew mi jëm kanam suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo Gambia lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo kon ñu ñaanal ñu jiitu taxawal suñu réew xiifaatu ñi ci ñàkk seen bakkan ñi laagu jàmm ak salaam moo doon seen kaadu ne ñu fàtte démb liggéey tey ndam suñu réew bu ñu yàlla may joxante loxo ay ñu fay ñoo bokk réew mi gaañi ne ñu tey suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo Gambia lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo Banjul lay ndamoo Meya tarafa marema Bora ya kandila bankoma Namiro sitanyola Bankola nyanto titanola Fo atol tenanola Bankola doko ngatanyola Amul nga amwala badola Fok ñu bolo moy aduna Ne ñu fàtte démb liggéey tey ndam suñu réew bu ñu yàlla may suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo Gambia lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo suñu réew lay ndamoo Banjul lay ndamoo Gambia am na ñi fi def jaloore Abdel Kabir Usun Jaay Siñoor Jalibaguyate Pature Usulayon jai mudusi Musangom piripire Kutakinte Niño isunyundanane Konelendamo Nyundamo Lalo keva Nitenyo kondamo Nendamo Sunyure mitenyo kondamo Reo mangini Sunyure mangini Reo mangini Nolen reo mangini.
Welcome back to the Golden Bee Revolution as we return from that short break. We are moving on with Binta D. Bojang, who earlier joined us in the studio, but is here with us. Binta, you welcome to Golden Bee Revolution.
Thank you very much, Kutubo. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Binta D. Bojang, a third-year English language student at the University of the Gambia. I am glad to be here.
All right. Thank you very much, Binta D. Bojang. I understand you are very good with words. How good are you with letters?
Well, I'm flattered.
All right. Thank you very much for coming here. We actually continue our discussion on domestic violence. And then when you look at the statistics, it is saying that 1 in every women experience domestic violence, either direct or physical or emotional violence, all around the globe. What do you make of this report?
Well, I can actually concur to this because when we look at the country, or let's say globally, we would realize that yes, we have two sexes, like male and female, but then the people that are subjected to domestic violence are mostly women. We are not saying men are not subjected to it. No, we're saying the majority of people that are subjected to it are women. The reason being, sometimes in our society, women are stereotyped. Like, we are the inferior. You understand? Men, I'm not saying, they have the upper hand. That is why sometimes when things like this happen, we are bound to keep quiet. Yes, the society molded us that way.
All right.
Yes.
Now, you said when it comes to domestic violence, most of the victims are women.
Yes.
You are a woman at the University of the Gambia. Now, you are one of the few women who are opportune to have that opportunity. All right. Now, what is going to be your stance as far as domestic violence is concerned, more especially with regards to women?
Well, I think the culture of silence, if we are to look at domestic violence, this is something that we should talk about because it is deeply affecting our society. The culture of silence and its rampant in society make us women keep quiet with certain things that are disturbing us. There are a lot of things happening to us, but because of the way we are seen in society and because of the way we are shot, like we are asked to do things like you are not supposed to say this and you are not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
We're bound to keep quiet even with those problems. And you will see, if we keep quiet with all our problems, the trauma is affecting us, not them. Yes, so if we are to talk about domestic violence, I think the key thing that we should talk about is to break the culture of silence. It is really significant.
All right. Now, you're talking about the culture, the breaking the culture of silence.
Yes.
Now, what are you really calling here? Are you saying that women should now stand out to protest, or in fact report some of these cases to the right authorities, especially the police and then some other line ministries?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Even not to the authorities, but then share your problem with people. Sometimes bottling up things in you can really send you to traumatization, and that is not good for the mental health. This stress, a lot of people are going through this stress because they don't talk about it. If you don't talk about something, you keep it in you, obviously it is going to affect you. Women should go out there, talk to people about their problems, especially the authorities, no matter the consequences.
All right. People should go out and talk to the authorities, no matter the consequences. Now, Mentor Boy, Binta is saying that most of the victims when it comes to domestic violence are women. Now, you are a poet who deals directly with women and young girls. You deal directly with some of the perpetrators, all right? And then poets are very powerful when it comes to giving message. because they don't need to go through any checkpoint to be able to deliver a message. They talk to people and they talk to their minds directly. Now, as a point, what is going to be a role here to make sure that domestic violence is coped?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sane. Before coming to that, I just want to add weight to what Binta said about when you ask her, what is he going to do, or what is expected of her to, what is he going to do to make sure that she help in mitigating those violence on women. Record have proven that one in every woman in this world, experience violence, and then also again, record have proven that countries with less gender equalities experience more
domestic violence.
Yes. I think I would advise us as young people, to lead, the change in trying to bridge the gap between men and women. The only time we tend to violate women is when we see them differently. But once the gap is being closed, you realize that, we don't see them really different. We see them like they are one of us and we are one of them.
Now, leading the change requires having the required knowledge and understanding.
Yes.
You are a teacher. And most of these people that perpetrate some of these acts are normally dropouts. Now, what are you doing in your own way, in your classroom setup, in the school, and also as a poet, you're going around, what are you doing personally to be able to talk to people, talk to students, that some of these things are bad and so?
Thank you. The thing is, if you look at it, I think I've been doing a lot, and I think that is my main focus. If you are lucky to come across, most of my pieces, you realize they are 90% of my pieces are all talking about the society, and of course, in Star TV here, they are playing one of my poems called "A Victim of Rape." That victim of rape was inspired by a student, where I say, at sunset she was raped and defiled, her pride taken before her prime, broken and shattered as he beguiled, ever engulfed and tainted in grime. Oh no, this is a crime. Hale bu ndaw nga forcé tedde ak mom ba mu costé ndawam nga jël deretam nga tour métit bi yéeg ba si yuur ba tax xolam tongo ak xelam léegi yéegatul boppam aduna mu suur force and hit her on a landscape, deny her the pride of virginity, perpetrated by a senseless wicked ape, hindered and bereft to serenity. Her life switched from sweet to sour like grape. She started to think like a boat sinking. So you realize that, that is just...
This is really touching.
Yes, and that is a video actually Star TV normally plays. So you realize that is just one of it. Do you know what inspired that? I had this student who experienced rape. So it's really easy to me. I could not wait. So I just have to speak on behalf of them, because these are young girls. In the next 50 or 30 years, they are going to be leaders of this country. We must not watch them to be violated like that. We have to stand. We have to go all out to make sure that, violence is put at a stop, or we mitigate it to the extreme.
Now, those who know Mentor Boy and those who are familiar with his work, you are not only a poet, but you are also a great inspiration to many young people in the country. And then the last time I've seen you training so many young people when it comes to leadership and some other social-related matters. Now, you could be very instrumental, not only giving your pieces on rape, on certain particular issues, but you could also be very instrumental in meeting those people directly and then seeing Mentor Boy himself talking about some of these ill vices that we experience in our society.
Yes, I think that is the plan. As far as we are having the platform to interact with those people, we will never decline that, even if you are not given a dime.
But one of the platforms is here.
Yes, thank you so much, and that is why I want to extensively discuss on that. I wish we could spend 3 days here so that we can talk about it. Yes, but then actually we have a lot to do in the society, especially as young people. I would not say young people are the problem of this country, but I would say the young people must not be the problem of this country.
We are the voices.
Yes, why I say the young people must not be the problem of this country is this, the country lies in our own hands. If you have a look at, the violence that we're facing today, especially those that are meted on women, the physical violence. I am lucky to be able to live in both parts of this Gambia, urban and rural Gambia. You go there, you are definitely seeing the line of violence, and yet we as young people can step up and change a lot of things. All
right, thank you very much for that. I'm coming to you, Binta. When you talk about the culture of silence, and then one of the stakeholders when it comes to domestic violence, and one of the duty bearers is the Gambia Police Force. But we have seen people report some of these cases to the police, and yet there is never a report that is given from this side of the police. Now, what are you really not terrified with this action by the police?
Well, the sound of the police and them not doing what they're supposed to do is actually terrifying, because they are our guardians. if we have problems, we go to them. But if they are not able to solve our problems, obviously we would be terrified.
And they will be telling you investigations are on,
Exactly.
but you never see a report.
You'll go there, you'll be going and coming there, and nothing will be solved. And one thing we need to realize is domestic violence doesn't only come in the form of physical, even verbally.
Okay.
Sometimes the way you talk to people is violent. You understand?
Very well.
So we would realize that you don't only beat people to be violent. Sometimes the words you utter to them are really terrifying. And the most serious thing about it is they cannot even talk about it, because sometimes they are threatened to keep quiet.
But don't you think that in this country we have people who are also perpetrating some of this violence and they do not know? And you also have victims who some of this violence are inflicted upon, they do not know that this is domestic violence. Now, the role of universities and university students is to be able to produce knowledge and make people understand certain subjects. Now, as a university student, what role can you play here to be able to enlighten people about domestic violence generally, more especially women?
Well, I think one mechanism that we can use is to talk to them. Conversation in every problem is really important. If you know a certain society or a certain group of people are subjected to this kind of things, you go out to them and talk to them. That is why in the University of the Gambia, the sub-associations that we have and the UTG at large, we engage in community outreach. When we go to communities, the people we come into contact with are mostly women. So it is through these that we can talk to these people about some of these things. Even if they don't know that this is a problem, we need to make sure they know it. Because some of them, majority of them are they don't go to school, or maybe they are dropouts. Community outreach, engaging people in conversation is really very important. It is going to be a mechanism to at least reduce the prevalence of domestic violence in our country.
All right, thank you very much for that. Mentor boy, drug is really playing a pivotal role when it comes to the prevalence of domestic violence. In fact, you will come to understand that most of these people that are engaged on domestic violence are normally drug addicts. They will take drug, and at the end, they will go and engage themselves in stabbing people, on theft, on so many other issues.
Yes.
And then, so drug is playing a very pivotal role in this particular act. And when you see those who are taking drug are normally young people. Now, what do we have to say on that particular issue?
Yes, Mr. Sane, I would want you to allow me, to give more weight to
it's like you are giving more weight.
Yes, I'm a weightlifter. So, anyway, what happened is this, she was saying something like, you were talking about the issue of police investigating cases.
Okay.
To me, I see it different. To me, I don't see, it should not reach the extent of investigation. It's about us understanding the early warning signs of conflicts. I did a course, 10-day training on conflict solutions. If you are able to understand the early warning signs, things that can lead to the emanation of violence, we are able to put a stop to it before it reaches to the extent of going into the police and so forth, right? And again, when you ask her about, as a university student, what are we doing?
But let me stop you here. When you talk about early warning signs that we need to understand,
yes.
do we have that intelligence here to be able to understand and detect issues before they arise?
Yes, there are certain signs one does not need a microscope to see them. They are out there, they are very clear. We have expertise. We have so many young people that are trained about peace and conflict resolution. These people can step up, and also when you talk about university students, what can they do? Just an example, right now, if you go to the School of Arts and Science, University of the Gambia, we are embarked on a nationwide tour between September 20 to September 30th. And do you know the theme? It's about peace and conflict solutions. Where we are going to read different societies in this country, talk about them, what is peace, about peace, how to make peace, what can we do to mitigate violence, what are some of the things that we should do to make sure that we deal with violence, what are the effects of violence. And I'm telling you, the remotest part of this country, what is the target? Where we are going to meet, we are going to have different speakers who have expertise on the particular area, and they are going to make sure that
it's like the University of the Gambia has almost a similar goal with the Golden Bee Revolution when it comes to that area.
Exactly.
And then we like to partner with some of those people because that is why we partnered with the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. We partner with so many other stakeholders that, because like we understand that before these violence are done, some of these people are drug addicts. So therefore, we partner with those people and then other agencies?
Yes, you asked me about drug, the issues of drug. I think I should say I have a lot to say from the community I come from. I don't have to mention it, but then these are things that we are seeing on a daily basis. It is very unfortunate that today the young people are the one who dope, who use a lot of drug. They abuse these drugs. To me, it's not only. I'm not only going to levy the blame on them, but the society have a say, the parents, and then the authorities.
You are a teacher. How about the school system?
Thank you very much. That's why I say the society. The school is part of the society.
No, the school is a different institution.
No, but if you go to the school, you have the parent teachers.
Okay.
So the parents, that's why I say the parents, the society, and then the authorities. To start with the authorities.
I want you to mention school as a problem.
Okay, schools.
Because most of these people are dropouts. No, they come from schools.
No, but those people in schools come from houses.
The school is
the school is an institution of its own.
Okay, let me explain this. Okay. Let me explain this. Okay. I will start with the authorities. Also, if you have a look up, I think they are doing a great job in trying to make sure they control drugs. But I think there is still room for improvement. We should do more as to the access of who is to access drug. I think one of the reasons why these young people use drugs is because it is accessible to them. There were other means that we could have put in place, that would have helped a lot in trying to demonize, the rate at which, the use of drug is going among young people. But it is obvious as a young person, if you use drug, you lost consciousness.
Do you know that is done in this country now? They don't sell cigarette they sell it in packets.
Publicly, and what? And then this is what is said on paper. But is this actual act in the society?
Thank you very much. I'll move to Binta now. Binta, finally, what will you have to say to... all right? So, okay, we're talking about drug here. And we know drug consumption is normally associated with young boys. But finally, what will you have to say to the young people in general with regards to drug addicts?
Well, we all know drug is bad. When you look at the packet of a cigarette, you would realize it is written on it. Stop smoking, smoking kills.
Smoking kills, all right.
So you can imagine the ignorance here.
All right, so...
you see something written on a packet that you are going to consume, and then you just give it a blind eye or a deaf ear, then you move on.
All right, thank you very much, Binta. We would love to continue, but we really run out of time. Now, Mentor Boy, in 30 seconds, can you tell us your final words or message to young people?
Oh, how I wish I could recite the piece. Anyway, then we can go. What I'm saying to young people is that we are the agents of change, and we should make sure that we put humanity first.
We'll head to our second break. Then when we come back, we are going to continue. Huh? Thank you very much.
Sun shining, I'm warm. How you feeling? Well, I'm home. Couple thousands I just flown, got me feeling some type of way. Embracing this ground, my people, my town. Celebrating with this sound, we are feeling some type of way. I'm humbled that I come from a place like this. So let me show you around, sing it again. So humbled that I come from a place like this. Let me show you around. Smiling Cove, Smiling Cove. Yes, we're repping all day. There ain't no other place like the Smiling Cove, boy. Smiling Cove, Smiling Coast. Yes, we're repping all day. There ain't no other place like the Smiling Coast, boy.
You missing out if you ain't from here. And don't be quick to judge from all the things you hear. Plus from a distance the picture's never clear. People give back, we care. Got so little but we share. Can't compare, you deke jama burajir. Yene deka yage here. For the nazi din yunye. Tourist yage jabante back and forth throughout the year. Bane. A peace of mind, sunny beaches. Love bird watching birds, we got different species. Rich in culture and the love leaves you speechless. Society's groom, reality it teaches. We one like a puzzle putting together all the pieces.
I'm humbled that I come from a place like this. So let me show you around, sing it again. So humbled that I come from a place like this. Let me show you around. Smiling Cove, Smiling Cove. we're repping all day. There ain't no other place like the Smiling Coast, boy. The Smiling Coast, the Smiling Coast. Yes, we're repping all day. There ain't no other place like the Smiling Coast, boy.
Digga na I different dikka fu nekk ak loo fay fekk fan ngay dem ñu oola lekk xamuñ la sa oola añ sa doon pour ñaan sa def ko ñetta ain't no other place this brother here could live better even beggars got homes géej naa gis ku fanaan better su seere be seere su winter you cool with just a sweater living the Smiling Coast or never to be honest suma happiness like perta.
Sun shining, I'm warm. How you feeling? Well, I'm home. Couple thousands, I just flown. Got me feeling some type of way. Embracing this round. My people, my town. Celebrating with this sound. We are feeling some type of way. I'm humbled that I come from.
Welcome back after that short break, and then as you know, this is Golden Bay Revolution. We are discussing on domestic violence. With me here is Binta D. Bojang and Ibrahima Mentor Boy. All right. Domestic violence, we all know, and we all know its prevalence, and then the causes and some of the consequences that it can cause to the victims. And then when you look at the victims, most, as Binta said, you normally have. The culture of silence is really disturbing us when it comes to the side of the victims, and also from the side of the perpetrators. I believe that they think that because when they commit these crimes, there is no consequences that is attached. Because normally when they will commit these crimes and go scot free. So I think that is an older issue that is really pushing these people to commit more crimes of domestic violence. Now I will start with you, Mentor Boy. Finally, is there any piece that you can give us, like just like a hint, sort of, with regards to domestic violence?
Mr. Sane, I want to vomit these words from my heart before it is late. Before I am shoved in the circles of the grave, that I live in a generation that I feel so lost. A generation where morality is mystery and humanity cause dysentery. Making sense is history, as every sense rests in the lenses of those people that it defends. I live in a generation where the pride of cruel temptation resides in the tens of our sensations. Vanity runs in our veins, not in ones, not in twos, but in tens and intent to bend our lines of thinking. I live in a generation where gunshots are no more the fears. You know what are the fears? The screenshots. For these are the guns of our days that are sought to peel our hearts and fall us short. I live in a generation where everything flows, you don't need to ask, just roll with the flow. Waxtaan sam mel ni xulo. Li tax dundatar ba ken waja rot yaram wow yax nopp sagar xeñ de sañ soxor jiitu jàmm sukk di ñaan ñu saxal ko waaye seytaane toog di ñuy yoole fitna tooyal suñu soos àdduna gën a tiis suñu nafsu bakken gën a diis coow ak joow teggatama suñu ruuxu góom-góom xaddi mun weddi sañ-sañ sekki may banku alalu àdduna firndeel suñu taar cey jamono det ñu mbéj di ñu mbéj taj bon ak soxor bay suñu tool li jural ñu tafaar ak kasaar kon jot nañu jombi soppi sippi ubbi bunti baax si biir ak si biti fii ak si biti jàmmaar loo ñu futti jàmmoo ñu indi bennoo doon suñu findi ndax jàmma doon lu ñu gindi. Let's get back to the chain of life and find the missing dice. Let's open the gates of consciousness. Let's extend the circles of humanity and hypnotize the venoms of vanity. Let's chastise the drums of serenity and lay the master plan of unity. Ndax ñun daal neen neene nit ak niw rek lañ kon nañ yaatal di taatal ndax asamaan si taw jàmm sax lendem so leer fenk. Thank you so much.
How I wish I could also manipulate words like this. I love the rhyming and the dictions and so on. Thank you very much for that wonderful piece. I'll come to you, Binta. Finally, what do you have for us, or what do you have for the viewers?
Well, to everyone watching this, Golden Bee Revolution and Star TV, your voice belongs to you. The society cannot overpower it. Whatever you're going through, try to talk to people about it. If you cannot talk to the authorities, look at a friend or somebody that you can easily talk to. Share your problems with them, because at the end of the day, if you keep these problems in you, it is going to affect you and not the society that make you keep quiet. So break the culture of silence. All
right. Thank you very much, Binta D. Fofana, for that wonderful speech. I understand you're a student leader and people do listen to some of your people. Finally, I'm also going to close with this one. Now, I'm not going to talk about domestic violence because what Mentor Boy and Ibrahim Adi said is enough. So I'm going to talk about the election, the December 4th election. Let us not be agents of insults to anybody. Let us not be a tool, a political tool for anybody to use us. Let us not be like a cigarette. Like a cigarette, when people need you, they'll just go and then buy you. When they're done with you, they will throw you and then trample on you. Let us not be that. And then they will tell us, young people, that you are the future leaders of tomorrow. A future that is not forthcoming. A future that is caged already. So we must have to be mindful and then don't put this country in a mess. The Gambia cannot afford an unrest. So therefore, let us be peace agents. Let us be an agents of peace and then make sure that this country prosper. I always say that the last generation has handed this country to us in peace. So therefore, we also have a responsibility and a duty to hand this country over to the next generation in peace if we cannot develop it. So therefore, it is called the Bay Revolution. I'm going to stop here and then till we come your way next time. Thank you very much, Binta D. Fofana, Bojang, and then Ibrahim Mentor Boy for the show. So therefore, thank you very much, and then be blessed till we come your way.